Welcome back, everyone, to Pod of Thrones. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jennifer.
And we are talking Witcher today with, as always, the one and only Lord Master Kevin.
Kevin!
Hello!
Hey.
Hi! How's it going?
It's going good, Kevin. How are you?
I'm good.
We are in week 96 of quarantine.
96?
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's how long it's been. My beard is easily the longest it's ever been, which really isn't that long. You'd think 96 weeks.
It's as if he can't cut his own beard at home like he does always. Because
No, this is in solidarity for people that can't
cut their own beards.
Yeah. Well, plus, since I can't get a haircut, it might as well match the hair on top of my head.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's just a whole mountain man, wild man, crazy person thing I've got going on.
It is quite.
My wife cut my hair, so maybe your wife should cut yours.
She's offered, but I hate to put her through that. It's a lot of work. I'd rather just go feral. She's starting to get used to it.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Mine's easy. I just do a shave, just take a size 3 little, just go zzz.
I had suggested I could do that.
No.
Everybody in my life has vetoed this.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
That's how I like it.
I think they're afraid that they'll like it, and therefore, they shouldn't let me do it. That's probably
that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you'll be too sexy by then.
I was going to shave my head clean once, and Jennifer supported the idea. I was going to go completely bald for the year we dressed up as Breaking Bad for Halloween.
Right.
That got vetoed by my family because I had to travel to Wisconsin like a week later to have a role in my nephew's bar mitzvah. So they said, please God, don't do that. And then I was sad I leaked the idea. Like, I should have just shown up bald and just seen what happened.
They would think you had cancer.
They definitely would have freaked out.
Yes.
Not because, even if I didn't have cancer, it wouldn't have mattered. My mom would have shunned me for years.
Oh,
probably.
God, yeah. She would never talk to you again, probably.
Probably, yeah. But I never did it, so there we go. So we're going to talk about The Witcher today. We're going to talk about episode 4, which is called Of Banquets, Bastards, and Burials. But before we do, I did reach out to some Witcher communities, and I asked about some of our outstanding questions from last episode. So just a quick little bit of follow-up. And I think, Kevin, you were hinting at this anyway, but I wanted more clarification. There is no standing in the book for this whole, like, we're going to take your uterus and we're going to transform you and then you can't have babies. Now, apparently Witchers can't have babies. That's part of their creation process. Like, they're just sterile. But there is nothing about becoming a sorcerer or sorceress that you have to give up your ability to make babies. However, the long-term use of magic does tend to sterilize most people.
Right, and I think I read a little thing on the last one where they said that some of them were asked to be sterilized by Tessia.
Oh, uh-huh.
I don't remember what I read last time.
So you can choose, but long-term magic might like radiate your
it's pretty much radiation.
Uterus or something. Okay.
And we know some people can still have babies because Fringilla, she is the child of a sorcerer, so it's still possible. Of course, it's a man that gets to have a baby, not a woman.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the other question had to do with births. I think it was Cirilla's birth. They were talking about a certain event, and according to the Witcher timeline, Cirilla wasn't born, or not Cirilla, Calanthe wasn't born at the time of what they were referencing in the show. But everybody...
she was born, she just wasn't queen yet. They were talking about her being just as stubborn as her father.
Well, no, they were talking about they were. They were talking about Princess Cirilla being as stubborn as her father at that ball, the sorcerer ball, or the meeting of the Brotherhood.
Yeah, right before it.
According to the timeline, Calanthe was not actually born, so they couldn't talk about Princess Calanthe because she didn't exist. So everyone on the forums...
They were talking about Princess Calanthe, yes.
Yeah. But Calanthe wasn't born, according to WitcherNetflix.com.
She was.
No, she wasn't. We
In the
talked
show,
about this
she
on
was.
the
Why
last
are we
episode.
talking about this? Let's just talk about the show.
The show, they talked about her.
I know. That's my point. The show's own...
Your timeline's broken. Your timeline's
Right.
broken.
Well, that's what I was getting to. Thank you very much. Is that the people... There was general consensus that whoever put together the website is just dumb.
Okay.
So there we go. So that question.
Which website?
WitcherNetflix.com.
Okay.
Which I'm still going to be going to and have been going to.
You should be the writer for Witcher Netflix.
I should get into that. Mm-hmm. That's right. I could be the gate, like like a lore master, like Kevin. I could be a lore master for a TV show. I could lock away all the little details as they're working on stuff and tell them later what they're doing wrong and to stop it. That
you could.
I mean, this episode also kind of talks about it. You know, I think. With,
yes, for sure.
Yennefer's, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yennefer's infertility.
Well,
no, they talk about the timeline a little bit.
Oh, well, we'll talk about the timelines. We're getting so close to intersecting too. All right, so let's get into this episode. Before we start, did you want to say anything about the emblem for this episode? You've been our emblem keeper.
The symbol was a broken sword surrounded by a tree.
Babe, you were right. You thought it was a broken sword.
The tree from Ciri's dream that we see at the end, the Sword of Destiny.
All right. I thought the tree looked like it was made of snakes, but when you talk about the tree at the very end of the episode, that just looked like it was surrounded by wishing magic-y particles. So that's probably, yeah, that makes more sense. But a broken sword. Way to go, babe.
Well, it helps when you walk right up to the TV and look really closely.
Yes, I was too lazy for that, but I'm glad you did it. All right, why don't we just start with Ciri then, so to talk about the Tree of Destiny. Her plot went by relatively fast. We got to save Geralt's shit for the end because he had all the stuff. Okay, so Princess Cirilla. When we left her, she was hypnotically walking towards this forest with someone kept calling out Ciri, not Cirilla. You'd think they'd use her real name.
Ciri, right.
They kept calling out Ciri, and Dara was following her, and he takes an arrow to the shoulder, which is just, it looked very painful.
He did a great job at the stunt.
Yes, I thought his acting was phenomenal with his pain and the shock. All right, so we start off this episode. She enters the woods that are whispering her name, and then she snaps to, and she's surrounded by armed ladies. I've had a lot of dreams like that. She's just like, where's Dara? Where's Dara? Or just Dara? Dara. Where's Dara? Where's Dara? Whatever. And we find out that she's in Broccolon Forest. Broccolon. Sounds nutritious.
Yeah.
You could steam yourself some Broccolon. And anyway, so we meet the leader of these women. They're Dryads. So that's a concept that comes up in a lot of different mythologies. Fine. So like
foresty people. It's like children of the forest, basically.
You're right. They are the children of the forest. Mm-hmm. Do they have acorn bombs later? I can't remember. I feel like there was some kind of like explosions. They probably do. But they evolved as many forests similar to theirs were destroyed by mutants and monsters after the conjunction of the spheres, which is
in men.
Of course, men, because men are terrible. Yeah, let's never forget that men are terrible. But the conjunction of the spheres, I don't think that's been talked about in this show, has it? But it was talked about.
Yeah, that's the first time I had heard about it.
It was talked about in the intro or one of the cutscenes for the Witcher video game, which I've been playing. Mm-hmm. So that was the time, like before the conjunction of the spheres, this Earth, whatever it is, was a peaceful place and everything was pretty much okay. And there were probably some terrible men, but nothing was really that bad. Everyone lived in peace. And then the conjunction of the spheres came and it was this coming together of different dimensions. All these dimensions sort of merged together temporarily. And it was through that monsters just started appearing on the planet. And then the conjunction faded, so it wasn't a permanent thing, but the monsters that were there were still there and probably started making monster babies. You know how things go. But it also, I think, introduced magic to the world as well. So then to fight the monsters, you started learning the magic, and there were elves, and all sorts of things happened. Maybe the elves came in too. I don't actually know. That would be good lore to find out. But yeah, so conjunction of the spheres, pivotal moment on this planet. And most of these magical forests are gone now because of it. But Broccolon's still around. They treat Dara's wound. They have him, I guess, is probably maybe sort of a reveal. They shot him and they dragged him into the forest. They pulled the arrow out of him, poured some water on it. In it. That's good water. And they say that if these people are going to stay, they have to drink the waters of Broccolon because it will test you. You'll either die. It's it's the waters from the faceless man, the faceless, the many-faced god.
You'll either get better or you'll die.
Yeah. All right, then. So you'll either die if you have ill intent, or you'll be fine. And over time, the waters make you forget everything bad in the world.
I mean, it sounds pretty awesome.
It's like really intense pot that you just keep drinking every day.
Yes, but if I guess you would die. So hopefully you don't have any ill things towards the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Which these two did not, of course.
Yeah, who would? Why would somebody have ill intent?
Like, what if you stumbled and hit your foot along the way and you're really mad at the tree or something?
Fucking tree.
You really don't mean it. You're like, stupid tree.
What
if you're Charlie Brown and that one of the trees ate your kite, and then you meet these dryads and you're all excited because no girls ever talk to you, and then they give you some water, and then you die because you were mad at the tree.
Yeah.
And don't they use fire?
I don't know, do they? We didn't see them use fire.
Maybe not. I don't know. But I mean, how are they cooking and stuff?
Well, they're dryads,
magic?
so they probably just eat tree bark.
Maybe they're vegetarians. Yeah. Maybe they just eat
raw veggies.
Roots and berries
Broccolon.
And tree bark. Yep. Just the extra tree bark that the trees don't need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like cannibalism almost, but a different.
It's very nutritious, though. High in protein. So anyway, she's under guise as Fiona, but no one seems to call her out on that, even though something kept saying Ciri into her head. So clearly it was not these Dryad people.
Yeah.
But she reveals her identity to Dara.
Who had no idea.
You don't think that the Dryad people were calling her?
They may know, just not letting her know that they know.
That's also possible.
I think they were calling her.
Maybe this comes up in a later episode, too. I don't remember. But for now, I guess my biggest thought would be maybe the tree we see at the end, since that tree can talk.
Could be.
Yeah. So she tells Dara who she is, and he flips out because he immediately recognizes Sentra and Calanthe, the lioness, right?
People that want to cut his ears off.
Right. The last thing Dara needs is someone cutting off his ears, because he's already seen way too much of that in his village. All of his people are dead.
Now, if you were an elf, would you just get some plastic surgery so you look like everybody else?
Well, he was wearing that little headband.
I know. I mean, so you don't have to wear a hat all the time. You don't have to worry about getting murdered or ears chopped off.
Well, I mean, that is...
Or is it principle?
I think that's a question you could ask about a lot of different kinds of racism, and the answer is generally no. I will not change myself so that people don't be shitty to me. I think people should just not be shitty to me.
Well, of course you think that, but that's not going to happen.
But do we want Dara to have to change himself?
No, I'm just curious.
Are there some, you know what? I bet you there were some elves that had surgery done to fix their ears and make them less pointy, because then they could infiltrate and be spies.
True.
That would be a good
Helpful.
idea. That I would support.
But then they changed themselves.
But they just put it back.
Oh.
Just save the tips. Put them on ice. I'll be back in a few days.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. So his family was slaughtered. But they mentioned specifically that Calanthe slaughtered his family after Filavandrel's uprising. This comes up again, and we're not going to see it this season, but it's obviously going to be a major moment in the overall storyline at some point. So Dara hid. That's why he's the only one left. He talks all sorts of gross, awful things that happen to his people and the babies and children. And it actually sounded very much like atrocities that were committed on Native Americans and stuff. Just terrible things. Always done in the name of race. Ciri is like, well, I got to get out of here. I got to find my destiny. And Dara's like, no, let's just forget everything together. Let's just drink smoke that bong, man. Let's just drink the water. Let's chill out. And Ciri's like, I don't want to. Okay. So anyway, she has a dream. She's dreaming about the Elven massacres, but then, and there's symbolically blood on her hands. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but she looks down at her hands and they're just covered in goop.
It looked more like guts and lumpiness, bloody stuff.
But it's on her hands. I think that was her guilt.
Okay.
It's just a dream. She wasn't doing anything.
I mean, it was pretty lumpy.
She also has a vision of the Nilfgaard guy, who I think I had his name a couple episodes ago, but whatever. He's just the Black Knight from Nilfgaard. He's a creep. So anyway, she wakes up. Dara's drinking the water. He's feeling good.
Drink
now.
it, Siri.
Like,
Everything will be fine.
And it's Ciri's turn to drink and forget, and she actually does it.
Right. She's all ready.
I guess I'll forget. Well, that dream was pretty bad.
But she doesn't show very much emotion.
That's true. I would agree with that statement. She's not a very emotional character. The water doesn't work. Ciri still remembers the things that she thought she'd forget. Although I thought they said in the beginning that it would take a while, like over time you'll forget. Anyway, so something's wrong with Ciri. Whatever. We're going to take her to the source of the water. And there's this tree, and they cut the tree, and this magical glowy tree sap comes out, and she drinks that. And then she really starts tripping.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the sap was kind of shimmery in the first
pure
place.
Stuff.
Yeah. That's definitely LSD. This is why the trees are gone, because man was like, oh, if we cut these trees down, we can totally see all the colors. And she enters another vision. She's in a desert this time, and there's that big shimmery tree. And we see the tree. And then the tree just says one sentence. Anyone remember what it is?
No.
No. It says, "What are you, child?"
Oh, yeah.
So not who are you.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Wait, was that a "that was she said" joke? That's weird. So what are you, child? But not who are you. What are you? And that's an interesting question, for sure. Okay, how about Yennefer's storyline? This one goes by pretty fast if you don't talk intricately about all the violence and blood. So let's do it.
Okay.
Oh, is there anything else about Ciri that we need to talk about? It was pretty straightforward, I thought.
Yeah.
Except the mysteries of what she is. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yennefer. We start with Yennefer in a carriage with, I wrote down some shitty queen. And then I looked it up, and it's Queen Callus of Lyria.
Yeah.
She's shitty because of her lot in life. Just like...
But she also tries to sacrifice her... Okay, we'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not shitty, babe. But go on. What were you saying? She talks about her lot in life. I said shitty queen, and you were like, well, she's not just shitty.
I'm totally blanking on Jamie
Lannister?
His sister.
Oh, Cersei?
Cersei. I kept wanting to call her Ciri. I'm like, what is her fucking
Welcome
name?
to Pod of Thrones. We are...
Anyway, she had the same shitty lot in life, and that's why she was so bitter.
Yeah. That's true. Although...
It's hard to be a queen.
Cersei probably wouldn't have volunteered one of her children in tribute to an assassin.
Well, it was an emotional time for her.
Okay. So we didn't know who this lady was. At first, I'm thinking this must be the queen that Yennefer's serving or whatever. But no, it's someone else from a kingdom called Lyria. I looked Lyria up, and from the context of the show, it doesn't appear to mean anything right now, which is probably why they didn't tell us her name.
Kind of strange that she's escorting somebody else's queen.
Well, the queen must have been visiting Aedirn, and now...
she has to...
send the most powerful sorceress in the world to guard her. I guess.
Weird.
This all would have been so much simpler if
maybe they wanted her to die too.
Ooh, the king of Aedirn. Well, Yennefer doesn't stick around with him forever.
No, the king of wherever you just said. The
Lyria?
queen's. Yeah, because it's the king, her husband, that sent that guy with the cockroach looking thing, or the...
The cockroach thing.
So maybe he wanted her to die too.
It's called I looked it up, it's called a koschei.
That's a fun name.
It's a chitin from
Koschei.
The chitin is the hard stuff that makes up its carapace.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're thinking of those things from Skyrim, aren't
Yep.
you? I can't remember what they're called right now.
Chitin, whatever.
All right. Anyway, those of you that play Skyrim know what we're talking about. She during this not much of a conversation, but Yennefer does mention she has to escort this lady back home and then return to Aedirn after. So she's still in service of the king of Aedirn. At least that puts us in some kind of time frame. And she also mentions
she said how long she's been doing it.
Yeah,
30 years.
30 years. 30 years at court cleaning up
decades.
stupid political messes. She's not showing a lot of job satisfaction right now. She should probably talk to human resources. And the queen just loves her baby. And then the attack. That was gross.
It's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. Bodies got ripped apart.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see most of it actually happen, probably because of budget. When Yennefer finally pokes her head out, we see some dude with a bug monster. So when I looked this up on the timeline, they called him the Ronin Assassin.
Well, he looks a lot like Ronin.
I don't know. I mean, Ronin is in terms of our world history would be a samurai, but assassins were ninjas. Maybe there's something I don't know about Ronin. I don't know. Anyway, Ronin Assassin. That's what he's called. And what was the name of the bug thing?
A Koschei.
Koschei. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So the guy's gonna kill him, I guess. So they get away. They run, and there's one guard left, whatever. But Yennefer opens a portal. They go through the portal. They wind up in the desert. Everything's fine for like a minute, and then that guy shows up again. But Yennefer does speculate that, this guy's an assassin, not a bandit. Duh. But it was this queen's fault. Not fault, but she ran out of chances to make a male baby.
How dare you even accidentally say it was her fault?
I'm saying Yennefer was implying it was her fault, but not really her fault. But it's because of her, which is a common thing that we have in our world's history too. I mean, kings will blame the lack of a male heir on women, even though, of course, now we know from a scientific standpoint, it's definitely the guy's fault. But back before we knew about genetics, women would just get blamed. They probably still do get blamed in some parts.
We know about genetics now, and men still blame the wives.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Because men are terrible. That's the common theme in all these shows. Anyway, the assassin follows them. They make a new portal to some rainy village, and obviously there's some kind of tracking device, magical tracking devices. Yeah, GPS. Make another portal to some mountainous region. The bug thing keeps getting closer. Yennefer's maybe getting tired. And this time Yennefer just peace out and leaves the queen.
Well, she called her a stupid, what did she say? Useless bitch,
She called her, you're a useless bitch, yeah.
I would be like, fuck you then.
It's your fault that they were tracking you. I mean...
Fault.
Well,
there we are again. Okay.
I've never called anyone a useless bitch.
Thank goodness.
All right. So the guy shows up. Of course, the queen begs for mercy and offers her baby as a sacrifice, which is
horrible.
I mean, you're both going to die anyway. I don't know.
That's true. You are both going to die. Is it better to keep one life?
But if you know the assassin's probably, like coming for you because
after you
of your uterus.
Why can't you say, leave my baby live and take me? You know?
That might make more sense.
Yeah.
Please let my baby ride away, carried on the Calathi or whatever the fuck it's called.
Cholesterol.
Cholesterol.
Costra?
One more time, Kevin. What's it called?
You're talking about the monster. Koschei. No, Koschei. No, I have it open. Right. I have it written down in my notes.
Okay.
It's spelled Koschey.
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, it's a very Eastern European sounding word even before you spell it. But yeah. All right. So the dude kills her anyway. Fine. And then he's about to take out the baby with the bug monster, but Yennefer appears out of nowhere and does like marionette magic on the bug. If she had just done that the first time around.
Right. Maybe to the guy too.
Yeah. I mean, she's the most powerful sorceress in existence, right?
She doesn't seem so powerful right now.
So she kills the bug thing. That guy's going to go home later. He's just going to cry.
Because he lost his bug?
Yeah.
Don't you think it was something that he magicked?
No, I think he and that bug were partners. I bet
he did magic it.
Yeah.
They have their own buddy cop movie.
He can re-magic it.
I don't know.
Well, on the Wikipedia, it says the mythical creature born of magic, only mighty mage who knows Alzur's work can summon a Koschei. So, Jennifer's
fine.
close to what it is.
Ruin my fantasy with your research and lore. I was picturing a whole poster and everything. It would be just like Turner and Hooch.
Aw.
Ronin Assassin with the little bug monster.
Cute.
He's so cute. Right. Anyway, so the bug monster's dead. He throws a knife. It's very dramatic, but you know exactly what's going to happen because we've seen this in every other movie with magic portals. The knife gets through, cuts up Yennefer, and kills that baby.
No, that didn't kill the baby. I think it was too many portals to kill the baby, or the water drowned.
No, I think the knife killed her.
The baby?
Well, the baby was so pale.
It hit Yennefer in the back.
Yeah, but it went through Yennefer and hit the baby.
No, it just sliced her shirt.
Okay.
Great. Now a new thing to research.
There was no blood on the baby. It would have been...
Well, I'm not going to go back and look and see. I just know that it was really sad.
There was blood all over
sad.
the baby's like blankets, but that could have been Yennefer's blood or the baby's blood or some of each.
No. I'm going to look back.
Okay. In either case, after all the effort Yennefer went through, dead baby. And then there's a whole speech. Yennefer goes off on a tear about how the dead baby isn't missing much, especially because the dead baby is a girl. And her point was that women are just vessels for men to take and take until they're empty. Now, we do have a woman in the room. Would this woman like to comment? Jennifer.
Well, I don't want to be hateful, but yeah.
It's okay to say yes. It's okay to agree with Yennefer.
Yes. I agree. I concur. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to... We don't need to go into it. It's true.
Yep. And then in what I found a very strange move, she buries the baby in about 6 inches of sand. Like,
that's water comes up, the baby's going away.
A little bit of water, one like crab.
You'll be safe forever.
She could have used her magic to just like
poor baby.
Dig a hole. Right.
Sharks be chomping on it.
Oh my God. That's right. Kevin lives near where this thing happened. I don't know if you guys saw this video that went around the other day.
No.
But it was like a seagull or something. And maybe not a seagull. Like a falcon in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, somehow pulled out an entire shark from the ocean and was soaring through the sky with this shark in its talons.
I would just see this. Awesome.
I will find it for you later. It is amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
I mean,
it was actually an osprey that got it. That's the type of bird it is. Yeah, it was all over my Facebook pages from people who were there, and then like all of a sudden I started seeing on news. I'm like, oh my goodness.
And like the beaches are super crowded too, so like everyone there is going to get COVID. But at least they saw something spectacular before they had to go put on a fucking ventilator. All right, so anyway, that's Yennefer's story. It was sad, dark, bloody. And also that thing with the dead baby was what they showed. Anyone that listened, no, I didn't record that part. But this was the scene they showed at the Witcher panel when they were introducing this crowd of 6,000 people in Hall H to the Yennefer character. They showed her talking to a dead baby. And she didn't do a lick of magic.
Oh, my goodness.
That's dumb.
Yeah. It was a very weird thing. Like... They introduced us to the different characters. We didn't really see Ciri do anything.
The writer was really proud of that writing, and that's why they showed that.
I guess.
It was pretty good writing. Like,
it was.
I mean, I was sad, and I was kind of laughing, too, at some of the stuff she was saying. I mean...
Yeah.
And it was good acting.
They did a fine line.
It was great acting.
Yeah. This was her coming to terms with her own infertility.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a pivotal moment, obviously. It leads her on to this quest that she wants to be able to have a baby someday. I get all that, but... you want to excite a crowd usually. When they introduced us to Geralt, it was actually also from this episode, and it was the scene in the throne room where he winds up kicking a bunch of ass, and Queen Calanthe has a sword, and he has a sword, and there's this huge fight. That was the scene they showed to introduce us to Geralt in Hall H. And for Yennefer, it was like, there's a dead baby, it's very pale, and she's very sad and hates men. And I'm okay with all of those things, but it was just, you didn't...
They could have shown her doing some magic.
They could have shown her, So when it's all over, instead of just silence, it's the crowd like cheering and being all jazzed.
Mm-hmm.
Her getting like, they could have just showed her like escaping, like running away, like, you know, throw them in portals.
Yeah, that would have been
grabbing
great.
the baby and jumping through a portal and then end it there, you know?
Don't have to show us the part where she kills the bug monster. Just leave us in suspense.
Show her screaming face when
Yeah.
she's getting her uterus ripped out.
Well, she was naked. I don't think that,
You could just show
I'd be
face
okay
up,
with them
face
showing
up.
that in Hall H, but
Yeah. There's children.
yeah, there were some children.
As if boobs are unnatural.
Boobs are much worse to see than a dead baby. You're right.
That is actually kind of the American philosophy. Murdered
Drives
baby
me crazy.
or mammaries.
Let's show, let's show a baby get murdered, or you know, maybe natural boobs. Let's show the baby.
Go with the
Let's show the
baby.
sword fighting and then knocking, killing people and stuff.
Yep.
But don't you dare show my kid a boob.
It's okay to see a guy getting his throat cut, but yeah, not a boob.
Yeah.
And that sums up Yennefer's story. We'll get a lot more of her, I think, in the next episode. All right, so
yeah.
Geralt of Rivia. It starts off with some good old Geralt comedy. A man's telling a story. Jaskier's taking notes about this guy's story about Geralt's heroism, but it ends in Geralt dying, getting swallowed by something called a Selkie-more. A Selkie-more.
Selkie-more.
Yeah. I know a Selkie
Selkie-more.
is a water spirit, I think sort of in the same thing as like a Dryad, a Selkie, but a Selkie-more appears to be a giant sea monster. And it ate Geralt and he's dead, and Jaskier's like, nah, he's fine. He's like, I saw him get swallowed, he's dead. And then Geralt bursts into the room covered in Selkie-more guts, which, what a makeup job. That must have taken hours, but it was well worth it.
No, they just dumped a bunch of pig guts all over him.
I don't know. You got to get like all the right, like on his face and his hair, make sure it's all caked in there good. I don't know. And so Geralt's fine. Cool. Jaskier thinks that he has played a pivotal role now in Geralt's life because the crowd is actually cheering him on and being like, yes, toss a coin to your Witcher. Hooray!
Right. Everybody loves The Witcher now.
And
Sort of.
Geralt doesn't seem to appreciate
I did
this.
want to say something about the Selkie-more before we move on.
Oh, please.
Sorry. Well, I looked them up too because I like looking up these monsters' names,
That's
and
why
apparently
you're the lore master.
Selkie-mores are just plankton eaters. That's all they do, but people were scared of them anyways, even though all they do is eat plankton. So they hired them to kill them, and like it was really not something you normally do, but I guess they did it for the money.
Well, maybe the
they're supposed to just eat
Selkie-more were
plankton.
eating all the plankton, therefore they had no fish because the fish need the plankton.
Maybe.
And that's why
Probably it.
they needed to kill it.
It's like a blue whale or a sperm whale. It's like all they eat is plankton. And
I don't
algae.
remember seeing it.
No, we didn't see this.
Okay.
No, it's huge. It's really big, according to this.
Yep.
I'm going to look it up.
Jennifer's looking it up. So Geralt doesn't seem to appreciate his new PR campaign, which that must just be his gruff exterior, right? Like he probably actually likes the fact that people aren't spitting on him anymore.
Well, at this point, it's not new. It's been going on for quite a while.
I have
As
a
we find out
number
at
on
the
that.
party.
Yes.
As we find out at the party later.
Let me give you that number since you brought that up. Let me go over to my Witcher timeline note.
Well, I just know at the party they talk about what he did at the edge of the world to the elves, and we know what happened then because we saw it.
Right. Yeah. They mentioned the encounter with Filavandrel, and that was in 1240. And yeah, so this law of surprise stuff that happens in this episode. So I guess starting with the Selkie-more is in 1249. So Jaskier has been singing Geralt's praises for 9 years. And apparently is actually doing a good job. So Jaskier's calling in a debt from Geralt to come with him to a banquet in the wonderful kingdom of Sentra. There's a betrothal ceremony, and Geralt doesn't want to come, but there's wine and women and feasting and stuff, so he gets talked into it. During a scene to get all the Selkie-more guts off of Geralt, he does say one thing about how, in terms of love, he needs no one, and the last thing he wants is someone needing him, which of course is prophetic to the end of this episode, but also, I would imagine, sort of prophetic to him meeting Yennefer, right? So at this banquet, we see Mousak, and there was a good revelation there, Because after the last episode, we're like, well, or at least I don't know if we talked about it, but I was thinking, well, Mousak works for Calanthe, and we just heard all about how the Sentra folks hate mages. So why is Mousak there? And it turns out that he came in through Skellig, which is ice.
Skellig, yeah.
Iced or ice,
Yep.
East. Fuck.
Iced.
These names.
Iced.
Let's just say iced.
Iced.
So Mousak
Iced.
works for Iced in Skellig. And that's why he's at this party. Skellig, fine. Sorry. Skellig. And that's why he's at this party, and that's why he winds up working for Calanthe in the end. So that makes sense.
Yeah. And this is the part, I think this is the part when this party happens. I think this is when most people who watch the show were like, wait a minute. What the hell is going on? We saw Queen Calanthe die. We saw Iced die. We saw an arrow go through his head. We saw, Mousak, what happened to him. I mean, at this point, you have to be an absolute moron that knows something else is going on. We're not put it together. You know what I mean?
Right. And then you've got Pateva. What is her name?
What? Pavetta?
Pavetta.
Pavetta. She's alive.
She kind of looks like
Pavetta,
Ciri.
who looks a lot like Ciri.
Yeah. But definitely not
They
Ciri.
did a really good job, actors.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So if you missed any of the hints about the multiple timelines in the last episode, you're right, Kevin. By this one, you're like, wait, nothing makes sense anymore. There must be something going on with flashbacks, at the very least.
Because they kind of did it with, the kings, the King Foltest and them, Foltest. They did it with him. Yeah, Foltest with the pictures, and then him showing up at the party, kind of nailing over your head. But here, there's no questioning anymore. You're like, oh, okay, it's different timelines.
Yep. So we meet Princess Pavetta. There is a reference to Sentra being the mightiest force in the land at this point on the timeline. And Calanthe is late to her own party. She arrives covered in blood, and she was suppressing some kind of, maybe not even uprising, but maybe like a hint of an uprising where some people were not respecting the crown enough. So she went and slaughtered a bunch of people.
I think that's just the way she is.
Just covered in blood?
No.
She just wants to fight. She just
always is fighting.
Yeah.
If anybody gives her any kind of back talk, she's like, chop their head off.
I think she talks about that in this episode when she's talking to Geralt, right? It's just easier. It's just easier to go out and kill monsters, even though she doesn't kill monsters, she kills men. But it's just easier to fight the monsters than it is to sit back and let other people do it for you. She loves the action.
Right.
And good for her. Women should be allowed to fight in the military. I agree. So we meet Pavetta.
I find her very interesting. She seems to be one of the only women, characters I've seen in a while that actually enjoy the violence. She enjoys the fight more than the politics.
Oh yeah,
that's I keep going back to stupid Game of Thrones.
You mean
Yara.
Wonderful Game of Thrones? Yara?
Wonderful
I thought you were going to say
Game of
Arya.
Yeah.
Or Arya,
But Yara too.
Yara.
Yara loves to just mix it up and fight her way through a problem. That's true.
Right.
Yep. It's a good archetype. We need more of that. All right. So we meet Pavetta. Pavetta is not happy about all this shit. She doesn't want to be courted. She doesn't like her mom's power politics. The whole thing of slaughtering, people just for not respecting her enough. So Pavetta seems like a good kid. And then Geralt in the back of the party, again, this is only for the sake of these crisscrossing references, is asked about how he slayed the elves at the edge of the world. You mentioned that earlier, Kevin.
Right.
Geralt says Geralt's truthful. So Jaskier's story, the one that leaked out, must have been one of Geralt, decimating the elves. And this was the elves going sort of further into hiding and starting to farm their own crops or whatever, right? And become strong again. But so Jaskier's story is Geralt kicked the elves' asses, and Geralt's like, "No, I didn't."
Yes.
No, I fucking.
Well, we
didn't.
heard Jaskier say he was going to do that too in the second episode,
right?
The second episode, because Geralt said that's not how it's happened, and he said, "Well, that's how it's going to be told."
Right.
And
Historians.
9 years later, it's being passed that way. Yep.
It's probably better that way for Filimandrel to be able to disappear, right? I mean, if they think Geralt went up into the mountains and kicked elf ass, then the elves were able to organize, and something happens. We know there's an uprising, an unsuccessful one, but still, at least they were able to try at one point.
Right.
Yeah. So
but
there was,
just for the sake of my, because I want to talk about, they were talking before that about a monster, Manticore.
Oh yeah.
And apparently, according to Wikipedia, the Manticore has a body of a lion, the tail of a scorpion, and wings of a bat.
Yes.
So it doesn't have multiple stingers. It doesn't have what they were talking about, So.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. And the Manticore is not a witcher monster. That's an old mythology monster, probably from Greek mythology, is my best guess. But it's certainly been in all the fantasy novels and worlds and role-playing games and all sorts of stuff. It's a common creature. But you're right. They were talking about, like, how many stings does it have? 2? 5? You know, whatever.
Yeah, it only has 1.
And Geralt laughed at them. Okay, so Geralt makes an impression. He gets to hang out with Calanthe for the night. And Calanthe figures blood's going to be shed at this party sooner or later because all these different men are jockeying for position. And she wants Geralt to help if violence breaks out. And he says... No, fuck you. I don't do this shit. Ain't my job. We meet. She
seems to think something's going to happen, and like when you're talking to her.
Well, yeah, and then that all does kind of come together. She probably knew that Urchion was going to show up because she knew Urchion was out there, and she knew about the promise. So you're right. She probably knew that he was going to show up, and that's why she was kissing Geralt's ass. Totally right. Yep. She really telegraphed that. Okay. We do meet Lord Peregrine of Nilfgaard. He's one of the possible suitors. He's sort of a pasty lad, gets thoroughly mocked. Calanthe says Sentra is the jewel of the north, but Nilfgaard is the shit rag of the south. He is...
And see, this is at the point of me watching this series. When I first watched it the first time, this is at the point where I was like, okay, I got to watch to see what's happening. Because we know that Nilfgaard was the one that destroyed them. You just 14 years later?
Mm-hmm.
But when they're there at the thing...
No, 14, you're right.
Well, I was...
Yeah, 14 because of Ciri. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
14 years.
Yeah. So like they play music over them. Everyone laughs at him. The queen doesn't let him finish. It's clear that they're the laughing stock, and she even calls them a shit rag of the south. So it's like, okay, so how do they go from what they're at now to, what they become in just, the 14 years?
Well,
because this Frangilla has to already be there because, it's been a while since, because the queen's the queen. She's already had a baby. So Frangilla has to be there already. So what are they doing?
Well, they're preparing it. I mean, we don't know everything that happened yet, but Calanthe does mention the usurper. And how this guy, once, is this guy going to take the usurper's place? And if so, how long is he going to sit on the throne? So we still don't really know the story of what happened there, but there was the Nilfgaard king that just wanted to fuck while his people starved. At some point, there was a usurper, and that turned into Nilfgaard eventually becoming this great military might. And Frangilla was there for all of it. Frangilla had to go work for the horny guy at first, and eventually...
Yes.
Things happen. So Frangilla's the key. And I hope we get to see the whole story someday.
I'd love to be able to see that story. That makes me so interested in that country.
And speaking of more stories that we need to see in future seasons, why are there so few Witchers left? Calanthe asks, and the answer was that they can't make any more Witchers because their home base of Kaer Morhen was sacked and destroyed.
Right.
So whatever, they probably had some kind of like magic mutation pool that they would dip babies in and turn them into witchers.
Oh, it's like Trials. It's basically Trials. It's in these kids with Trials.
Fine. Ruin my vision.
Well, they can remake Trials.
It's like okay. Well, you'll see
a motorcycle, like a motocross. They could just remake their
motocross.
Just make their jumps and their...
I like that that's where your mind goes. I'm thinking like, kill the goblins and run a race. And you're like, well, motorcycles, that's definitely...
Right? I don't know. I'm tired. I'm so tired.
It's been quite a weekend with the 4th of July and all. All right. But then there's a break-in at the betrothal party. He introduces himself as Lord Urchion of Erlenwald. Mm-hmm. And he takes off his helmet, and it's really Sonic the Hedgehog. But, I mean... Wow.
Did he have to be that?
What a makeup job.
Couldn't he have been like a gargoyle or anything else?
Something that doesn't immediately
He looked like a hedgehog.
He's a hedgehog. Yeah, he's a hedgehog man. But I think Jennifer's question is a fair one. Couldn't he have been any other kind of creature that wouldn't make us think of a video game character? I mean, the memes were instant. I saw the memes before I saw the show, and I was like, what the fuck is that about?
Yeah, kind of weird. Is that what he is in the books?
I have no idea, but I do wonder though. I mean, they called him Urchion, which makes me think of urchin, which is a spiny sea creature. Well, she called him Urchin
in the end. She's like, she shall marry
Lord Urchin.
Urchin.
Yeah, I thought maybe she was just, I caught that, but I thought she was just saying it
I think he
with an
says his
accent.
name Urcheon because he doesn't want it to sound like urchin.
Could be. And yeah, so he looks like Sonic the fucking Hedgehog. Calanthe wants him killed, but he claims Pavetta via the law of surprise, which means nothing to us watchers.
Holy shit, the law of surprise is confusing.
Go for it, babe.
I don't know.
What do you let it all out?
This is what I think it is.
What?
Somebody helped somebody at some point in time. And that person that got helped said, you can have something of mine, but I don't know what it is, but it's going to come in the future. And you can come claim it at some point in time whenever you think that is okay. And that'll be the surprise.
That's close. That's
Surprise.
really good.
Yeah,
That's really good.
Go for it, Kevin.
It's like you said, it's a repayment for something, usually for saving his life. And basically he told the king he would take something that he didn't know he had yet. So in his mind, it's most likely a bumper crop of some sort, or maybe some type of, treasure he comes upon, or maybe like a new puppy. I mean, it's a gamble basically at this point.
Yep. You're rolling the dice.
Right. But what he didn't know is that Queen Calanthe was already pregnant with Pavetta, but the king didn't know that. So when the king got back and he found out that she was pregnant, now that meant that Pavetta was, Lord
Urchin.
I could call him Erlen. You were calling him what?
Urcheon.
Urcheon.
I'm pretty sure I saw that written somewhere. Urcheon.
Uh-huh.
Well, I heard him say his name. I thought he called it Erlenmod.
Oh, that's his land. That's his land. That's where he's from.
Okay.
He's Lord Urcheon of Erlenwald.
Oh, yeah. Urcheon. You're right. Urcheon. Lord Urcheon.
Why does it have to be the child? I mean...
Because that was the surprise.
It could have been anything.
It could have been anything. Right.
Well, the dude got home and he was surprised.
That was the first thing he learned about when he got back. It would have been the first thing no matter what. If he learned about a new crop, if he learned about a new puppy, if he learned about...
Oh, it's the first thing that you learn about that person that they get new. Whatever that person is getting new, it's the first thing that you learn about that they've got.
Right.
Okay. So they could have had a baby and he could have gone away for like 10 years and they come back and then they get like a new puppy and he'd be like, oh, you got a new puppy. I'll take that. Not the kid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. This is a lot of surprise.
Yeah, it's a surprise to everybody because you're giving away something that you don't know you have yet.
It's bullshit,
so
really.
It's a surprise to
Basically,
you.
it's bullshit.
But the important thing is it's clearly a magical bond.
Oh my gosh, yes. If you do not honor the law of surprise, all hell is going to break loose.
Yes, very much so.
Well, that's not what happened, is it?
Yes.
No, because Mousesack explains later. Geralt explains it too. We'll talk about that in a second.
Well, we'll have to dive into that because I thought it was. Yeah. All right. Anyway, okay. So Calanthe's like, kill this motherfucker. Sonic has to fight for his life. Geralt intervenes because this is not okay. Because
Geralt knows that he's not a monster. Geralt knows he's a cursed knight.
Mm-hmm. Right, and Geralt doesn't want to get involved if just a bunch of fucking noble idiots decide that they're going to bust each other's heads open. But this guy's about to be murdered. Well, yeah, he seems like a decent guy. Right. He seems honorable, and they're just going to murder him. It's not even a fair fight. Mm-hmm. So Geralt intervenes, although Urcheon was doing a good job for a while there.
Right.
I like him.
He's a knight.
And so, of course, that turns into kill them both, as if that was ever a good choice. It's another one of those things, like, this dude's reputation precedes him in all places. And you're like, yes, kill Geralt. This will not come back to haunt me in any way. Mm-hmm. Won't make me lose my entire Queen's Guard in one fell swoop.
I like to point out that Iced also starts helping because of the law.
Right. Well, yeah, Iced is like, but the law of surprise. We can't just murder this hedgehog. We have to
honor
do the right thing. Yep. So he fights side by side with them. And
then the queen joins, fighting her own men.
Right. Right. She's like, oh, Iced is okay with this. Well, I guess I should kick over my own dude and bust a couple faces open and then declare an end to the violence.
I don't know why I love that so much. I mean, she could just be like, stop then, but no, she had to get in and fight just a little bit.
Yep.
Just had to fight a little bit.
She can't help herself. She just loves it too much. Okay. So the madness is over for the moment. Pavetta gets to hug Urcheon. There's some kind of story. Well, he tells the story about having saved King Rognar from death, and he chose the law of surprise as payment. Whatever windfall, see, this is where they kind of explain it, if badly. Whatever windfall Rognar came home to find, that was going to be Urcheon's, and it was a baby. But we do find out in this conversation that Calanthe knew about it all along.
And that's why she was on The Witcher.
Right. She was maybe hoping that Urcheon wouldn't show up, but of course you can't stop destiny. As Iced would certainly, back up. Urcheon said he didn't want to claim Pavetta. He was trying to ignore this all, but something happened and they met each other. That story was not properly told.
Right.
But
how far away is the land of Vindenvold or whatever it's called?
Yeah, like
they're just trotting along on their horses one day and they bump into each other. He may have just
been there, like looking for her.
He was watching her from afar.
That's right. No, yeah, he said he was watching her, keeping an eye on her. Yeah.
He was basically stalking her.
But we didn't get the part where it went from stalking to a meet cute to them waking up in each other's arms after sunrise, right? Like something got missed there, and they fucked.
Right?
They fucked. She fucked a hedgehog.
I hope the stuff down there is not so pointy.
Yeah, that would be really painful.
Mm-hmm. That's why she's vomiting.
Okay, anyway. Yeah, so they fucked. Now, he didn't say they fucked. They just watched the sunrise together or something, but obviously they fucked. All right, so Geralt is consulted on this conflict. He doesn't believe in destiny, but a promise made must be a promise honored. Fine. So Calanthe's like, all right, fine. Everything's going to be great. She shakes fucker's hand and then tries to stab him in the throat.
Why is he a fucker?
Mm-hmm. Well, she thinks he's a fucker.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, he did fuck her.
Okay. Oh, I see.
But Calanthe is not going to back down on this. And that's when Pavetta loses her shit and explodes the entire room with a scream.
Right.
Yeah.
So it wasn't Destiny doing it. It was Pavetta doing it.
But this is seemingly Pavetta's first display of power. So maybe that's when Destiny was flip the on switch.
Well, yeah, I guess it is her first display. But Queen Calanthe knew that it was possible she had those powers because her mother had those powers.
Mm-hmm. She thought it had skipped her.
Yeah, another thing where Calanthe just is trying to ignore everything. She's really in denial about a lot of stuff. So Pavetta and Dooney, I guess that must be his first name, meet in the middle of this cyclone, and Pavetta starts speaking Elder. Which, again, did she know that before? Because that's the language that the sorcerers use, and maybe the elves. I don't know, but it's not.
She's possessed. She's possessed.
She's possessed. It could be. Maybe. Geralt struggles against the wind and fails, so he pops a potion. Mousak struggles against the wind and fails, and then Geralt managed to get out like a Jedi Force push to break up the cyclone.
It was weird. She he broke her stare, and she looked at him all creepily.
She was not happy. And they were coming down, too. I feel like the cyclone thing was almost over. But Geralt just had
Who knows what would have happened when they landed? Maybe she was going to turn around with fire in her eyes and...
Maybe.
Kill everyone.
All right, so Calanthe talks about, yes, my mom had this gift. It skipped me. It skipped a generation, but obviously not you, Pavetta. Destiny is spoken. Calanthe's finally come around. The Lost Prize will be honored. Hooray! Skellig stands by this, says Iced. And also, Calanthe's going to marry me. I am not sure if she actually said yes to that or not, or maybe she just went along with it. Because, when the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
While they were fighting.
He totally... Yeah.
He made it up.
So, now, immediate marriages. Hooray! The same night. Calanthe performs the ceremony for Pavetta and Sonic, and then, just like in Shrek, if we have to pull in more pop culture references, True Love's first kiss, as a married couple, turns Sonic back into a dude.
Mm-hmm.
Hooray!
First you think he's going to die, because it's so violent.
If it was like Shrek, it would turn her into a hedgehog, just to be clear.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You're right. That would have been amazing.
That'd be cute.
That would have been pretty much better.
That would have been so good. Okay, so Sonic says that that Geralt must be paid for his service of saving his life.
Stupid.
And Geralt's like, I don't know, dude. I'll just take a surprise.
Surprise me.
Because
he's not planning on coming back no matter what.
Right.
Clearly.
Only to kill monsters.
Well, because he doesn't believe in destiny anyway, so what does he care?
Yeah.
What happens? And Calanthe, of course, is like, you fucking moron, just as Pavetta throws up because the morning sickness sets in. So there's a little baby hedgehog inside her. And Geralt, once again, has the best reaction. Just says, fuck.
That's the series' best of them all, though, I think. Of all the times he says fuck, I think that's the best in the whole entire series.
Yeah, so Geralt's going to have a baby. Mousak is going to stay behind and guide Pavetta and her power, but also he works for ice, so whatever. But Geralt's leaving, and Mousak's like, you can't outrun your destiny, Burrow. You're a part of this shit. The bond between you and this child will be extraordinary. Can't wait to see that. But then here's the thing, and I'm not sure where you read this, Kevin, but I feel like it's pretty dark. If Geralt tries to run from this destiny, he will unleash calamity upon them all. Calamity.
Not
Does
hell,
calamity
calamity.
count as like Nilfgaard rising up and destroying your kingdom? Because that seems like it's kind of a calamity. But what did you take from that line?
But we know before, I mean, like if you watched more, you would know that, he was actually on his way back before that happens.
Well, he was, but the wheels were set in motion. He spent 13 years. 13 years avoiding Ciri.
No, he wasn't avoiding her.
Reason. We'll talk about it in a future episode.
All right. So you don't think that was the calamity?
No. The calamity is something completely different, I think. It's touched on in the games, I think.
What were you saying, babe?
It's because of the Calanthe giving that guy saying he's a shit show, and then Fringilla going to Nilfgaard, she's all pissed off because she got her spot taken, so it's they're gonna rise up and
I mean, look, feelings were hurt. I'm not saying that it wasn't, but
I don't think it has anything to do with destiny.
You don't believe in destiny? All right, you're like Geralt, but like Geralt, you will someday you will learn, lady. You will learn destiny's power that can't be denied. Okay, anyway, so we fast forward now to the burning of Sentra. Fringilla's people find Calanthe's body and cut out a strip of her flesh, and one dude eats it, chews it up, nom 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 nom, like it's delicious. And then that guy starts having like a seizure. So Fringilla opens him up, and just his guts spill out all over the ground. And she looks at the guts and says that Princess Cirilla is in Broccolon Forest. That is amazing.
Why could she just take the piece of flesh in her own hand and hold her hand over that flesh? Wouldn't it be in a direct, more direct?
It's got to be guts.
Who knows?
It's got to be ingested. And it wasn't even in his intestines yet.
Yeah, that's true.
That was very weird.
Magic.
Like, how would the contestants know that she went to a forest? I mean, who knows?
And Calanthe didn't know where she went.
But I will say, we see. This is a particularly gross example, but we do see Fringilla later gladly sacrificing her own people to do magic stuff. Right. So there is at least that element.
And she got into the sisterhood in the first place. Like the first time because she killed a cat, she froze a cat. So I mean, she's not above.
She is evil.
This stuff.
That's why magic people shouldn't have babies.
Then they make evil babies.
Yep.
It's really all Fringilla's dad's fault.
Demon babies.
Not getting his balls snipped. So the Broccolon Forest, great, but we can't march an army in there. That's not how you get into Broccolon. ... Mousak, meanwhile, has been captured. He's in chains, and he grabs Calanthe's scarf, and that's how that storyline ends. So this all leads into next episode. We're going to see what happens with Ciri in the forest and how the bad guys try to get her out. But that's it for now.
These two episodes back to back are like my favorite ones. I love these two.
A lot of stuff happens.
I just love the little surprise thing, and Geralt with his fuck. And then when he meets Yennefer, it's great too.
Yeah, that's next episode, right? We haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
But so he meets Yennefer next episode. Sparks fly.
Oh, that's right.
In so many directions. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. So the man who doesn't believe in destiny is going to do something really kind of stupid by the end of that episode. But we'll talk about that next time. So for now, anything else about this one? We talked about the timeline stuff. There wasn't a lot to say, except that, we know that Geralt has been with Jaskier now for 9 years. And we know that Yennefer had been in service for 30 years. Now, those are what we saw in this episode, though, are all still in 3 very distinct timelines. But they're coming closer. The escape of the Ronin Mage was supposedly in 1240, which was 3 years before Geralt fought the Striga.
I don't think you should be quoting dates from the website.
I can't help it.
Let's just talk about
I like numbers.
A
what?
Generality of years.
Well, all I was going with this was that they were much further apart before, but in this particular episode, the Yennefer storyline and the Geralt storyline are only 9 years apart, according to the timeline, which may be wrong. But still, they're coming closer together, and now next episode...
It's much closer, yeah.
Next episode, they're going to meet. So I just thought that was good storytelling.
Well, yeah, it has to be, because we know that she said she was there for 30 years. Mm-hmm. We know that the queen wasn't the queen yet whenever she first got introduced there. Mm-hmm. The queen is now old enough to have she's now been queen, and she has a daughter that's old enough to have a baby. So, I mean, you're looking at close to, 20, 25 years there. So,
yep. So for the most part, it makes sense.
So we know roundabout where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It all works out in the end. Thank you again to the Witcher and Witcher Netflix subreddits for helping me sort through some of my crazy conspiracy theories. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I guess that's about it for now. We're going to have to talk soon. There was big news this week in our worlds that the same people behind Westworld, a favorite of this particular podcast, are starting up pre-production work on a TV show based on the Fallout universe.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
So that's big news.
We'll see if it happens.
We're just going to have to do some wish list speculation coming up soon. But I'm sure it'll be 1.5 years to 2 years before we actually see the results anyway. So let's not hold our breaths too much.
Sounds fun, though.
It does. I'm really looking forward to that. So we'll talk soon. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about episode 5, of course, coming up very soon. I'm itching to watch that one again. This has been a very fun Witcher rewatch. I hope you've been enjoying watching it with us. Until next time, I'm Jeff.
I'm Jennifer.
Say goodbye, Kevin.
I'm Kevin.
All right, we'll talk soon, everybody. Happy 4th. Woo!
That's the kind of